Hello, hello, and welcome back to Sign Language class. This is lesson 9. Today we're talking about time and weather. First, we'll talk about seasons and weather, and then we'll talk about more nature words. Then we'll learn some words about days, as well as the days of the week, and finally some other time words. We've got a lot of vocabulary, but it should be a lot of fun. So come on, and let's get started. The first signs we'll talk about are signs for seasons and weather. So let's learn those words first. To sign season, take one hand and hold it with your palm facing to the side. Take your other hand and make an S for season. You're going to go in a circle. Start on your hand, go around, and end up on your hand again. Many words about time are done in this way. It's kind of the idea of a clock on the wall or how the clock hands go around. So season is going to be around with the letter S. Season. To sign weather, make two W's for weather and wiggle them as you move them down. Weather. I've also seen people do it just with flat hands without the W shape. Weather. So weather or weather. The first season is winter. To sign winter, do the sign for cold, but use W hands instead. Winter. Sometimes people will just use the regular sign for cold, and the context, or what you're talking about, will show if you mean cold or winter. But for this class, let's do winter. Winter. And in winter, we will have snow. To sign snow, wiggle your fingers slightly and move your hands down, like snowflakes falling. Sometimes people will tap their shoulders and then move their hands down, because when you're outside in the snow, snow will pile up on your shoulders. Snow. Snow. The next season is spring. To sign spring, make a C shape with your hand and push the fingers of the other hand through. Spring, spring. This represents the grass growing in the spring. In the spring, we'll have a lot of rain. To sign rain, make something like a claw shape with your hands and then bend your wrist down. A lot of times we do this just when we're talking about rain, but remember in sign language this is the sign for snow. So rain, we're going to bend our wrists and we'll do it a little harder. Now if the rain is really coming down hard, move your hands hard. If it's just a light rain, show that with your hands. And in addition to rain, we'll also have a lot of wind. Now to sign wind, you're going to blow a little with your mouth and move your hands back and forth like they're blowing. Wind. Wind. And if the wind is blowing really hard or just lightly, again, you can use your hands to show that. So remember, in sign language, the way you do the sign shows more about the word than just the sign itself. So pay attention to how you're signing and what your face looks like, because that also gives meaning to your signs. And the next season after spring is summer. To sign summer, take your finger and wipe it across your forehead, ending in a curled X shape. This represents how you sweat when it's hot in summer. Summer. And in summer, the weather is often sunny. To sign sunny, make your hand in this shape, showing the rays of the sun, and bounce it over your head. Sunny. Sunny. And finally, we have fall or autumn, where the leaves come from the trees. To sign fall, hold up one hand like it's a tree. Take your other hand and brush it against your arm near your elbow, like leaves falling from the tree. Fall or autumn. And in fall, the weather is often cloudy. To sign cloudy, take two hands, kind of like a claw shape, facing each other and move them around to show swirling clouds. Cloudy. Now, if you're just talking about one cloud, you can do it small, but to show that the whole sky is cloudy, move it across from one side to the other. Cloudy. Okay. Let's do all of those words again. I will sign them 2 times, and you can sign along with me. All right, the first one is season. Season. Weather. Weather. Winter or winter. Snow. Snow. Spring. Spring. Rain. Rain. Wind. Wind. Summer. Summer. Sunny. Sunny. Fall or autumn. Fall or autumn. Cloudy. Cloudy. Very good. Now let's talk about some more nature words. The first is grass. To sign grass, you're going to kind of claw your hand a little bit and put it up under your chin, like animals eating grass. 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 To sign tree, hold your hand up, your arm is the trunk, and your fingers are the branches and leaves. Tree. Twist your hand slightly. Tree. To sign leaf, put one finger at the base of your hand. You can kind of imagine that this finger is the stem and this hand is the leaf, and you'll move it down a little bit, like a leaf falling off a tree. Leaf. Leaf. To sign flower, put your fingers together and put it under your nose. Once and twice. Flowers smell beautiful. Flower. Flower. To sign mountain, you're going to hit one hand on the other. Similar to the sign for work, this is the sign for rock. You'll hit your hand and then move them up to show rocks that go up. That's a mountain. 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 To sign river, get your fingers and wiggle them to show the sunlight twinkling on the water, and move your hand kind of up and down to show a river. Or you might just see people do it without wiggling their fingers. Either one is fine. River. To sign ocean, it's a similar sign, but your hands are going to go bigger to show the waves of the ocean. So a river is a little up and down as your hands flow forward, and an ocean is big waves. Ocean. Ocean. To sign beach, use one hand as the shore and use the other hand to show the wave coming up and going back down. Beach. Okay, so ocean is just the waves. A beach has a shore and the waves. Beach. And a river flows forward. So think of your hands as showing the water and think about what the water looks like as you move them. To sign sun, it's very similar to sunny, but you're going to put your fingers together first, make a little circle in the sky, like the sun is a circle shape, and then shine it down on you. Sun. Sun. To sign moon, make kind of a C shape, kind of like that crescent shape of a moon. Put it by your eye and move it out. You're looking at the crescent moon in the sky. Moon. To sign star, take two fingers, you're going to rub them together and point them up. Star. Star. Remember the word for socks? We did it downward. It's the same sign, but this time it's kind of the idea of maybe a shooting star or sparks up in the sky. Star or stars. All right, let's do those again. Once more, I'll sign it twice and you sign with me. Grass. Grass. Tree. Tree. Leaf. Leaf. Flower. Flower. Mountain. Mountain. River. River. Ocean. Ocean. beach, beach. Sun, sun. Moon, moon. Stars, stars. All right, now let's learn about how to talk about what day it is. So first of all, in a day, you have morning, afternoon, and night. So think of your hand as representing where the sun is and your arm like the horizon. In the morning, the sun comes up. Morning, morning. In the afternoon, the sun is up high in the sky. Afternoon, afternoon. And at night, the sun has gone down. Night, morning, afternoon, and night. To sign the word day, keep your hand out and then use a D shape to show the sun going from up to down. In one day, the sun comes up and goes down. To sign today, you're going to take two Y shapes and bounce them down twice. This is also the sign for now, but it can also mean today. Sometimes you'll see people sign now and day together, now day or today, or you can just do it with the Y shapes. Today. To sign yesterday, take an A shape and move the thumb back. Yesterday, yesterday, because yesterday was in the past. To sign tomorrow, take that same A shape and twist your hand so it's pointing forward. Tomorrow. Tomorrow is in the future. So today, yesterday, tomorrow. To sign every day, for example, I go to school every day or I read every day, you're going to take the A shape and brush it down your cheek twice. Now remember, the sign for girl went by your chin one time. Every day, you're going to brush it twice. Every day. To sign calendar, you can hold this hand up and then pull your hand down and across like you're making the boxes of a calendar. Calendar. I've seen several different signs for calendar, but this is the one I've seen the most often. Calendar. Calendar. Now to talk about the days of the week, we're going to use our letters of the alphabet, and we'll pretty much use the first letter of each day. So for Monday, make a letter M, and then turn your hand up and towards you like this. Monday, and turn it in a small circle. Monday. To sign Tuesday, you'll take a T for Tuesday and also move it in a small circle. Wednesday, the same way, a W, and turn it in a circle. Now for Thursday, we've already used the letter T for Tuesday. The next letter in Thursday is an H, T-H, so we'll use an H instead and move it in a circle. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, take an F, and Saturday, use an S. So if you know the letters of the alphabet, you can sign the days of the week. Now for Sunday, we've already used an S for Saturday. So what we'll do is take two flat hands, put them up, move them in an arch, and put them down. Sunday, Sunday. All right, let's do those again. You sign with me, and then we'll finish up with a few more time words. All right, morning, morning. Afternoon, afternoon. Night, night. Day, day. Today, today. Yesterday, yesterday. Tomorrow, tomorrow. Every day, every day. Calendar, calendar. And the days of the week? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Once more, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Good job. All right, let's do a few more time words. First of all, how to tell the time. You just tap your wrist as if you're pointing to a watch and then hold up your finger. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and so on. To sign the months of the year, it's very similar to the days of the week. We're going to use our letters and spell it. If it's a short name with 3, 4, or 5 letters, we'll spell the whole thing. If it's a long name, then we'll just do the first 3. All right, why don't you do it with me? January, J-A-N. February, F-E-B. March. March only has 5 letters, so we'll spell the whole month. M-A-R-C-H. April also only has 5 letters. A-P-R-I-L. To sign May, we just spell M-A-Y. June, J-U-N-E. July, J-U-L-Y. Now for August, it's a bit of a longer name, so A-U-G. September, we actually use 4 letters, S-E-P-T, September. And then for October, back to 3, O-C-T. November, N-O-V. And December, D-E-C. So as long as you know the letters, you can practice those to get more quick at signing them. And the more you practice those same letters together, the faster your hands will get at doing it. Okay, the word now, it's the same as today. We take 2 Y hands and pull them down. Now. Now. To show later, take an L hand and move it forward. You're showing that something will be later in the future. Later. Later. Kind of like you're saying, later dude, I'll see you later. Later. To sign will or future, just use a flat hand and move it forward. In the future, or I will do that. They're the same sign. If you're talking about way in the future, move your hand far. You can even squint your eyes like you're looking far into the future. Or if it's just in a few minutes, just move your hand a little bit. So we can say, oh, in a few minutes I will eat dinner. Or we can say, in 10 years I will graduate. To sign past, just put your hand over your shoulder to show it was already in the past. Past. So future and past. And we'll use these words even when we're talking about actions. So in English, we'll add ed if something happened in the past. So I jump now, or I jumped. In sign language, we'll just say past, jump. Instead of saying I will jump, will and the future, remember, are the same sign. So we can just say future, jump. The sign for finish or done. Take your hands, kind of face them towards you, and then twist them out at the wrists like you are all done. Finished or done. We'll also use this when talking about actions. Again, in English, someone might say, have you read this book? And you might say, oh yeah, I've already read that. In sign language, we'll say, oh, I've read that, finished. And that just means it's done. I've done it before. It's something I've completed. To sign year, take one fist, put your other fist on top of it, and move it around in a circle. Year. Year. The earth goes around the sun once every year. To sign month, you're going to hold one finger with it pointing to the side. You'll take your other finger With this time it's facing back at you, and you'll move your finger down. If you're looking at a calendar, the month goes down the calendar. All of these weeks together make a month. So we'll say not calendar, sorry, month, month. To sign week, you're going to hold your hand out flat, make a D shape, but kind of flatten your hand and move it across. A week goes across on the calendar. So week, week, a D shape kind of for the days that are going across in a week. And finally, we can't talk about time without learning the sign birthday. Everyone's favorite day, right, is your birthday. Touch your chin and touch your chest with your middle finger. Birthday, birthday. Now you can spell what month your birthday is in. All right, let's do those one more time. Now, now, later, later, will or future, will or future, past, past, finish or all done, finished, year, year, month, sorry, turn this hand sideways, month, month, week, week, and birthday, birthday. All right, we just have one more lesson after this, and you guys have learned a lot of vocabulary words. So you can probably start making your own sentences now, if you haven't already. You've just learned morning, afternoon, and night, and you've already learned the word for good. So if you put it together, you can sign good morning or good night. You know the sign for see or look at. So if you see beautiful stars in the sky, you can tell someone, look at the stars. Okay, put your words together. I've tried to teach both actions as well as objects and things and people, as well as some grammar words like future and past, so that you can make sentences. I don't want you just to have a list of words. I want you to be able to put them together in sentences. ASL, American Sign Language, does have some special rules for how sentences are put together, and that takes a long time to learn. But you really can start practicing your signs and just putting them in the same order we speak English. Some people sign that way, and as a beginner, that's a good way to practice your signs. Read a book and sign the words that you know. And I hope that this has made you interested enough to want to keep learning sign language. All right, let's go ahead and get out our worksheet, and then this lesson will be done and we'll have one left. Welcome to the Weather Channel. This is the weather station giving you weekly updates on weather. On your worksheet, you will see a chart with the days of the week at the top and a blank space for you to fill in the symbol to show the weather for that day. I'm going to say the day of the week and the weather in sign language, and you fill in what's missing on the chart. All right? We will see some on the will shine. It will be, all right, on it will start to get a little, on it will start to get and cool. By we'll be seeing heavy, okay, by we'll be seeing heavy. But don't worry, on it will be again. By it will be again. On we'll start to feel some light. On we'll start to feel some light by it will be cold, by it will be cold and by we will see some, by we will see some. All right, if you didn't get all of those, feel free to stop the video, go back and watch it again. And when you're satisfied with your answers, go ahead forward and I'll show you the answers. Sunday is sunny, Monday is cloudy, Tuesday will be rainy, and Wednesday will be sunny again. Thursday is windy, Friday is rainy, and Saturday is snowy. Great job today! You've learned a lot of signs, and I hope you have a chance to keep practicing them, and I will see you later. Bye!